Hi, it's Robyn from Robyn Crafts. In this video, I'd like to talk to you about freezer paper and its uses, and most importantly, if you're outside of the USA, I'd like to talk to you about its alternatives. There are some and they're just as good, so hold on and I'll let you know about them towards the end of the video. So freezer paper, if you're in the US, is very easy to obtain. You can just grab it from your local grocery store. It just costs a few dollars. And its uses, apart from keeping your food fresh, are for applique, and I use it for my felt book covers. There are all sorts of people use it for stenciling. The reason why it's used is that on one side it's just a regular matte paper that you can draw on, and on the other side it has a waxy, shiny surface. You may be able to see that there. And when you iron onto the matte side, the waxy side will stick to your fabric. So you can draw your applique onto it or draw your pattern piece onto it and then iron it onto your fabric and it'll stick, enabling you to cut it out and get a nice clean cut. It's a fantastic product. I'll show you how it works. I'll give you a little demonstration. So I've got just a very simple little stencil here. So on the matte side of the paper, I'm just going to trace my stencil. Just use a regular pen or pencil. And then cut that image out. Get my piece of felt. And all I need to do is, with my iron, set at a fairly high temperature, but certainly not up at maximum, just a little below maximum, and without any steam. Don't use steam on this one. All I need to do is just press it onto my felt. And that has now stuck to the felt. And it's perfect to allow me to cut out my pattern piece. By the way, there is no reason why you couldn't use freezer paper for all of my felt book patterns. No reason at all. This would work perfectly well. The reason why I haven't recommended it up until now is that I like to use the Fabry Sulky Sticky, that stuff, the Sulky Fabry Solvy, because you can print onto it easily. You could print onto this, but it's just going to take you a little bit of extra effort because you've got to cut it out to exactly the right size before you feed it through your printer, and some printers may not like this all that much. So that's why I tend to use the other stuff. But if you are in an area where you can't get that, or if it's particularly expensive for you, then by all means use freezer paper instead. So I've cut out my little pattern piece, and then all I need to do, peel that off, and I've got a perfect piece cut out. The other fantastic feature with freezer paper is that it is reusable. So if I needed multiple pattern pieces, all I need to do, stick it back down, make sure the waxy side is facing the felt, iron it on, and it's good to go again. I can cut that out. I'm yet to discover how many times you can reuse it. I use them dozens of times and they're perfectly fine. So that's freezer paper. Fantastic product, nice and cheap and easy to get if you're in the US. If you're not in the US, you need an alternative. Enter the humble ream of paper. This is just a stock standard. In fact, it's so cheap it doesn't even have a picture on it. This is a stock standard ream of paper, just regular printer paper on the inside. Now the regular printer paper is not what I'm referring to. That's not going to stick to your fabric, but the wrapper will. So this is the wrapper that I've removed from another ream of paper. And if you look carefully at it, you'll notice that the wrapper also has this matte side and a shiny waxy side underneath. That's what's going to give this the same quality as the freezer paper. So with my wrapper. I've already done my stencil here. Cut that one out. Don't need all of that. And then same idea. I'm going to iron it onto the felt. Use the same sort of temperature setting on your iron, still avoiding the steam, don't use any steam. And you can see that that has stuck on. I didn't iron it particularly well in that corner, but you can see down where I need it on the heart, it's stuck on. And just like the freezer paper, cut it right out. Now I've done a little bit of Googling and I've discovered that you can get exactly this freezer paper in, well, at least in Australia. I'm not sure about other countries. You can buy it from Spotlight in Australia. They do stock it. However, it's so much more expensive. Here I bought that entire roll for I think about $3. What is this? So this is a 15-meter roll. I paid about $3 for this at the grocery store. At Spotlight, I noticed that it was $1.50 per metre. So it's a lot more expensive. You can get it. It's just crazy expensive in Australia. So here's my copy paper ream wrapper, doing exactly the same thing as the freezer paper. And I hear you ask, is it reusable? It most certainly is. So just like the freezer paper, again, wax side down. There it is, stuck on again for another use. Brilliant. Now I have seen various tutorials giving ideas on alternatives for freezer paper. Some people are suggesting contact paper, you know, the clear sticky stuff that you put to cover your books. Some people create their own freezer paper by ironing shopping bags onto paper. There are all sorts of different ways to do it. I like this method partly because this is super easy to get. Pop into any office. They're throwing this stuff away on a daily basis. So go into a business somewhere and ask to get this sort of stuff. It's easy to obtain. Also, I like the whole upcycling aspect of it. You have been throwing away freezer paper all these years and had no idea. So use this as an alternative to freezer paper. It works just as well and it's not going to cost you $1.50 per metre or more. I hope that helps.